Yeah, so man, we just behind, man. How I told you before, I don't see how y'all niggas stay over there by them trains, boy. I can't do it. That's why I got out of San Marco, boy. That doggone train over there, boy. I couldn't. I'm like, with this thing here, man. All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Pick this up at John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom, Amun. Proverbs 24:1. Be not you envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them, for the heart study destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding it is established. And knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. A wise, strong, yea, a man of knowledge increase strength. For by wise counsel shall you make war, and in the multitude of counselors, safety. Go on ahead and walk with verse 27.
Prepare your work without and make it fit for yourself in the field, and afterwards build your house.
Give them Proverbs 14:1.
Every wise woman build her house, but the foolish pluck it down with her hands.
God, make sure you build your house. Shalom, Brother Marvin, man. Psalms 127.
Except you who will build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except you who will keep the city, the watchmen wake in vain. Vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows. So he give his beloved sleep.
That's good. Let's come over here to Second Chronicles chapter 3, man. Verse 1, man. Let's look at. Matter of fact, hold on, back it up. I think we're in chapter 2. Come over here to chapter 2, man. Second Chronicles chapter 2, verse 6.
But who is able to build him a house, seeing Shamahim and Shamahims cannot contain him? Who I then that I should build him a house, save only to burn sacrifice before him?
Pause. Look at this question that he asked. Who is able to build him a house? Well, who's able to build him a house, Michael? So you who are able to build a house for himself? Interesting. You confident on that? Just trees? No, I'm just messing with you. You're all right. You good. It's Hebrews chapter 8, verse 1.
Now the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such a high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty in Shamahim, a minister of the sanctuary.
What good with your shalom, Dap?
Which the Lord pitched and not man.
Who pitched it?
The Lord and not man.
So this is the house that he's looking to build, because this is the only house that contains him. Again, and that's going back to the point that we were talking about the other day. Read Isaiah 66:1 again, man.
Thus saith Yahuwah, Shamahim is my throne, the earth is my footstool. Where's the house that you build unto me?
He said, where's what? Where's the what?
Where's the house that you build unto me?
Where's the what?
The house that you build unto me.
The place of my what?
Of my rest.
Where is the place? See, like I say, people take that. See, you ain't got to read the rest of it.
For all those have my hand made, and all those have been, saith Yahuwah. But to this will I look.
Who you going to look to?
To him that is poor of a contrite ruach and tremble at my word. He that kill an ox as if he slew a man.
Good right there, right? Dang, was something in my mind. I don't forgot it. Oh, yeah. Come on to Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 1. See, you know, I didn't even get a chance to read that. So, you know, the people over there, they're going crazy because, you know, you got red heifers overseas. They supposed to be sacrificing. I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? Some people look at it was an earthquake and it was a 4.8 in the eclipse. Shalom, bro. And the eclipse is on 4.8 and all this other stupid stuff these goofy niggas got going on. Before you even read Jeremiah 7, read Jeremiah chapter 10 for the dumb niggas in the back who be worrying about all this stuff going on, man. All right, shalom, Jay. Nigga be on some old stupid junk like this here, man. Look at what he gave.
Hear you the word which Yahuwah spake unto you, O house of Yasharal. Thus saith Yahuwah, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the who?
The way of the heathen.
What's that?
And be not dismayed at the sign of Shamahim.
Don't be dismayed at the signs in heaven.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
So if you dismayed by the solar eclipse on April the 8th, you's a jackass. Because he told you not to do that. What you care about a solar eclipse for? Is that what he told you to look for? He told you when the sun and moon don't give her light and the stars fall from the sky. That when you know, I don't care about those solar eclipses. I don't even know the stuff these niggas say supposed to happen because I don't keep up with that type of stuff. Shalom, Brother Vaughn. I don't keep up with that type of stuff. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. Yes, sir. I seen somebody say, man, I'm so tired of these conspiracy lies. I don't know, because two people who I know who stay up there, well, really three, because one, my homeboy in Connecticut, he hit me up like, man, we just had an earthquake, man. That junk bugged me out. And then the moon hit me up like, man, I was asleep, man. We had an earthquake. That junk bugged me out. And somebody else I know hit me up like, man, we had an earthquake, man. And they say, first thing I did was look to the sky. And she was like, most people thought she was saying that because of the Lord. But that nigga was like, after 9/11, everybody in New York, when stuff happens, it was like they look at the sky, see a plane coming. You know what I'm saying? But I seen a couple of people post that saying, see, earthquake 4.8, eclipse on April the 8th. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because Rohan hit me up, like, I guess as soon as it happened. I'm like, nigga, y'all don't have earthquakes up there, do it? And I was like, damn, y'all do. That was before I seen the news story. I was like, there they do. The earthquake was centered out of New Jersey. But there are, what you call them things, man? There's fault lines up there. It's not the first time that an earthquake gonna hit up there. It's just not a common occurrence, as say in California. Shalom is, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just not a common occurrence, but it do happen. And 4.8, all jokes aside, that's almost a 5 on the Richter scale. That's not a light earthquake. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Look up and see how strong that earthquake was in Oakland, man, in 1991. Because they had an earthquake during the World Series. What, the one at Oakland? Yeah, see, that's an extremely strong earthquake. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because we don't experience it, like all those a 5 on the Richter scale for an earthquake, that's a pretty strong earthquake. You know what I'm saying? That ain't like Shalom, Sister Tradin. That ain't like at all. You know what I'm saying? That junk delayed the World Series for like a week or so. How strong they said that whole week? It's all good. But yeah, niggas be on some old type of stuff, man. It's like they see the stuff in heaven, get scared. I say I don't know the conspiracies about the eclipse, so if y'all seen something, you can share them because I don't know. 3 days of darkness. That's interesting. Shalom, Misha. No, that what niggas say. The news ain't said nothing other than what time is gonna happen, so you go out and look at it. He said it was a 6.9. That's strong. You know what I'm saying? I about to say, man. I said we ain't never. None of us. I don't think nobody in here other than my mama done experienced an earthquake before. Any of y'all experienced an earthquake before? Oh, that's right, because you done been out there. Yeah, that's different. You done too, Brother Robert? No. I forgot you stayed in Cali for a while. Man, like that junk different. That junk here different. That junk, man. I wouldn't even know how to respond if I felt the earth moving. Nigga, what can you do? What'd you say? Yeah, I already know it, because then what can you do? Then talking about, well, at least we ain't got to deal with hurricanes, nigga. You can leave, you can flee from a hurricane, nigga. You can't flee from an earthquake. Yeah, see them mudslides here different. Yeah, I'm straight on that. But the mom say, hold on tight. That's all you can do. Nigga be right here crying to the Lord. Hold on. E said, send it to me, Each, man. She said, I had to later to see what was going to happen next. That's what the woman said. He said he can send a link to a guy say that Christ coming back Monday and the clips has been sent to warn the elect to follow him. That nigga smoking rocks. Send it to me, Each. That nigga high, boy. Shalom, brother Eric, man. Come on, read the Jeremiah 7. I ain't worried about that junk. The reason being, brother, you know why I don't be worried about that junk, man? All jokes aside, because I know from the text, boy, it's a lot of things gotta happen. It's a lot of things gotta happen. And I told you this before. Most people don't want these things to happen because then give me Revelation 3 and 10. Just read Revelation 3. Make it 9 on the house. We're gonna hold that, then we're gonna go to read that, then we're gonna go to Jeremiah 7, man.
Said, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Hashatan, which say they are Yahudim and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you. Because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try.
You say I will keep you from the hour of who?
Of temptation.
That is going to come upon the who?
All the world.
For what?
To try them that dwell upon the earth.
What are he trying them for?
Behold, I come quickly.
Paul, what is he trying them for? The same thing we read in Deuteronomy 13, to see if you're going to go after another God you don't know. That's what nigga don't want to happen. These niggas don't want to be tried. That's why they want the stuff to end. That's why they want a rapture. That's why these niggas want to, we gonna go to the wilderness. That's why the niggas want all that. They don't want to be tested. These boys know their faith is weak as wet toilet tissue, man. For real, man. Like, you gotta understand something, right? It's the same way I would tell a nigga this when a dude asked me, like, man, why you doing all them? He was like, you could do push-ups with legs, he'd be more effective. I say, sometimes, bro, you have to push yourself to see what you really can do and what you really made of. Okay, I've been in here doing 4 sets of 30 or 40, but let me see if I can do 100. I won't know if I can do 4 sets of 100 unless I test myself to see, do I have the mental and physical fortitude to do 400 push-ups in succession? Because, you know, I don't take much rest in between. Well, it's no different with the world. How are you going to know your faith that strong if it don't get tested? You don't even know how. See, most people don't want to put themselves in challenging situations because they really don't want to see the type of nigga they really is. See, I done told you this before, right? Money don't change a nigga. Money just reveals more of who you already are. But if you give an individual some power, that tests the nigga if he really is a righteous individual or not, or what type of person he really is. Because power don't necessarily change people, but it gives them access to do things that they would not necessarily had to do otherwise. It's going to test their character. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, she took her message back. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that, man. And I'm only mentioning that based off of the conversation we had, because, bro, power is the only thing that would make you ask a nigga to give you his whole paycheck. You know what I'm saying? See, when you got power, you know that you could get a plot of land and have people build on it and then put it all in the congregation's name and really keep it for yourself. When you really could just, the land is owned by the congregation, the people own their home. You know what I'm talking about? The land you couldn't sell the land to somebody else, but you could do what you want to with the home. Because that's how it should be. You know what I'm talking about? Why in the world should the congregation own the land and the homes? See, only power will make you believe that that's the right thing to do. You know what I'm talking about? She said, I done lived through hurricanes and tornadoes. Woo! I'd rather deal with a hurricane than a tornado. I ain't gonna lie to you. I say that because a hurricane, you can make proper preparation unless it's extremely strong. A tornado can come out of nowhere. Yeah, they on land, but depending on the category of hurricane, you can kind of make preparations to deal with that, and also depending on where you live. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I lived in New Orleans, I don't care what the power of the hurricane is, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that because it's been shown that the propensity for hurricane, now Katrina was an abnormally strong hurricane. It was a category 5. You know what I'm talking about? But that's a city below sea level. I'm not going to try to endure that. You know what I'm saying? I think that hurricane that slid through here that year for Tabernacles, that might have been a 1 or a 2 when it hit land, and a 1 by the time it got through here. You know what I'm saying? But we in the city where, depending on where you stay at, you could deal with that. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think I'd stay around here for a category 4 or a category 5. And it was like barreling down on the city. I'm going to slide. I'm not going to stay around here for that. I ain't gonna be like, I'm going to ride that out. No, that's the power of Yahuwah. I'm going to let him do what he do. I'm out of here. You know what I'm talking about? But a tornado can come out of nowhere. Amen. Praise Yahuwah. She said I was spared during the tornado in North Carolina. See, I'm out of there. You know what I'm talking about? Because the tornado, you can't do, depending on the power of that thunderstorm, boy, that hole can pop up anywhere, man. Ain't nothing you can do. And see, the problem is why I tell you sometimes, man, you can't take that stuff or not. What I mean is, you see so many tornado warnings in your lifetime, you don't take them seriously until you actually in one. You know what I'm saying? We'll see a tornado warning, and you going, man, I'm finna go do such and such and move around, this, that, there, and the third, until you call it one. Because you have to remember, anything that occur like that, that's all Yahuwah. That's all Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to take stuff like that lightly from time to time. Woo, Brother Eric said he been through both. F5 tornado ain't no joke. And I think that's the strongest tornado it is. I think F5 tornadoes winds get up to about 150 to 200 miles an hour, man.
Like Edgewood and King.
Well, I seen that some
years ago.
I
I visited sometime and I saw it from miles away.
I've seen water spouts. I ain't never seen no tornado. That's something different. That tornado hit. Because like I said, it's going to be little to no warning. It's little to no preparation. You know what I'm saying? Majority of the time. Majority of the time. That's all you who ain't even no rain. Just kill a nigga. Come on. Jeremiah 7:1. Yeah, Joanne with the shenanigans.
The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah saying, stand in the gate of Yahuwah's house, proclaim there this word and say, hear the word of Yahuwah, all of Yehuda that enter in at these gates to worship Yahuwah. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, Elohim Yasharal, amend your ways and your doings, and I will cause you to dwell in this place. Trust you not in lying words, saying the temple of Yahuwah.
He said the temple of Yahuwah.
The temple of Yahuwah.
What is the temple of Yahuwah?
The temple of Yahuwah are these.
What's the first one?
For if you thoroughly amend your ways and your
doings.
Doings.
Tell him what amend your ways is, man. And you're doing.
To amend is your top, to be good, to be pleasing, to be well.
So he wants your ways to be well. And remember, through wisdom is a house built. So you want to know what the temple of Yahuwah, the temple of Yahuwah is not brick and mortar. It's amending your ways. This is the house that Yahuwah has built and not man. Or when he said amending your ways, meaning that your ways are good. Go ahead. And that's the rock. That means when he said amend your ways and your doings, that means you walk in a good course of life. Continue.
Doings is my law, deed or practice, your acts, work.
Your acts, your work. What's up, boy? Go on and sit down, Muffin Neil. Go ahead, sir.
If you thoroughly execute judgment.
Now you already know what that is. To thoroughly execute judgment between who?
A man and his neighbor.
You should be able to judge what's right and wrong between a man and his friend. Come on.
If you oppress not the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow.
If you're not oppressing those that are of a lower class than you, for lack of a better term. Remember, what is a fatherless child? That's a child that ain't got no parents. What's a widow? That means that's a woman whose husband died. We just read last night how the priests was exploiting the widows. See, y'all think that's just something that's just started. Niggas, preachers exploiting old ladies and widows in the Christian church. Hebrews been doing it. The priests been doing it. False prophets been doing it. See, we act like what you see in 2024 all the way to when most of y'all were born just started. Man, wicked preachers been doing that. You know why they do it? Because for power, money, and vainglory. Because that's what most of these niggas want. They want power, money, and vainglory. Most of these, I told y'all this before, most of these niggas want to be ruled over with rigor. Most of these niggas want a nigga to drop their foot off and they behind and exploit them and oppress them and take them for everything they got. And you better not talk about my pastor. You niggas better sit back and pause like, nigga, you even think about how dumb you sound, bro? And you think that's just Christians who talk like that. You bet. Now, I understand people can be biased because you know this man. You know what I'm talking about? You might have a relationship with this man. But when you know there's certain things that you've been looking at, here's what I tell nigga the other day, right? I said, I'm trying not to call nobody names. But the dude who got put out, right? This nigga was with this man for 15 years. You mean to tell me you only had a problem with what this nigga had going on when he put you out? But you watched it for 15 years? Bro, I'm not finna sit here and watch a nigga do some sour stuff for 15 years. And now I want to say something. Nigga, I don't respect you. Why you ain't say nothing 8 years ago? 10 years ago? 13 years ago? You want to say something now when a nigga, you feel like a nigga removing you from the congregation. Now you want to talk and you think I'm supposed to respect that? Nigga, you said a nigga, what? You understand how long 15 years is, bro? I'm talking about to watch somebody that you say is doing wrong for 15 years. You sat and watched it, didn't say a word. Now, when he put you out, now see, he was doing this and doing that, and I ain't agree with that. Nigga, if you ain't agree with it, you should have left soon as you seen it. I'm not finna sit and watch a nigga do wrong for 15 years, my nigga. Because if you watched it for 15 years, guess what that means? You co-signed it. You agreed with it. You agreed with it. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down, you agreed with it. I'm not talking about you was part of something and stuff was going down and you ain't know it was going down. Nigga, you knew what was going on. You said you knew what was going on. You sat there and watched it, didn't do nothing. I don't respect that, bro. Oh man, but Eric say 15 years almost from a newborn to high school, cause shoot, you hit high school at 5. I mean kindergarten at 5. You graduated at 18. That's 13 years. That's 13, 14 years of schooling. Hell, if you start at pre-K and all this other stuff, that's literally 15 years. Bro, I'm not finna watch nobody do evil for 15 years, and now I want to say something. And we think, and I'm supposed to think you righteous for talking. Ain't that's how the niggas move? And niggas think like he righteous for talking. Nigga, why you ain't talked 10 years ago? Man, if you think I'm finna sit here and watch a nigga steal money for 15 years, bro, and nah, man, I'm gone. I'll be like, boy, that nigga stealing. Y'all better leave. I don't know about y'all. I watch that nigga steal. But you know what ends up happening? Man, you just saying that. This is what these niggas like to scream, bro. It don't even be respect of persons, brother Marvin. Some niggas it is. Some of these niggas just hoes, man. Some of the niggas ain't, and when I say that, meaning that these niggas ain't gonna say nothing because they benefiting from the scheme. You know what I'm saying? Now when you can't benefit from the scheme, now you want to talk. Nigga, you's a rat. You know what I'm talking about? You a dishonorable man. Because you ain't had no problem with it until you couldn't benefit from the scheme no more. Now it's a problem. I don't respect that. I don't respect that. Niggas be knowing, niggas be swinging and all type of stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga don't say nothing. I told you that years ago, boy. It was a congregation in Louisiana. Them niggas were swingers. I ain't talking about whoring around. I'm talking about your wife, my wife, your wife. That boy say you dip, we dip. That's tough. And guess what? It was niggas knew they was doing it and nobody said nothing. Man, there's all type of stuff these niggas be doing and don't nobody say nothing. Until one, and see what ends up happening is when people come in, some people look at it is, and I understand how this happened. See, when you from the outside looking in, you ain't gonna be like, no. When you understand human nature, you can understand how it happened. Niggas will come in the organization, they start to see things. They try to convince themselves that what they seeing, that's not what they seeing. You know what I'm talking about? Then once they get ingratiated so in it, it's like, okay, now niggas scared because they don't want to rock the boat. So they just kind of turn their head and just keep on moving like they don't agree with it, especially if you in a totalitarian system where a nigga will throw you out because you don't agree with him. You know, ain't nobody supposed to be throwing you out no congregation because you don't agree with him. We all men here. It's okay. You can disagree. That ain't the end of the world. You think that's a threat to your authority because the nigga don't agree with you? You a weak man. At that point, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I'm talking about? It's not that serious. It's really never that serious. Not about no word. It's never that serious. You know what I'm talking about? But you better watch these niggas. These niggas on some other type of time. You know what I'm saying? When you sitting around here, man, niggas, Hebrew niggas do it too. That's my high priest, all this type of stuff. Put niggas on pedestal, man. I'm talking about they glazing these niggas every day. Every day. You see that junk, man? It's one thing to give honor and respect. The book tell you to do that. If the man doing the labor and the work, it tell you to do that. It's another thing to be New Jack swinging on a nigga nuts, man. That's a whole nother thing, man. You ain't supposed to act like that. Not about no man. He dusted. And truth be told, the preacher's supposed to check niggas and stop them from doing it. What Peter did when Buddy fell down at his feet, what he told? You know what he told? Who know what he told? What Peter told? He said, I'm a man like you, man. Get up. What you doing? He said, I'm dust and ashes just like you. What are you doing? Even when John fell down at the angel's feet, the angel told him, man, worship God. What are you doing? Every time somebody tried to praise Mashiach, he was like, praise God. We gotta watch that type of stuff, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. Come on, say what verse you in? Jeremiah 7 and what?
6.
Jeremiah 7 and 6.
It said, if you oppress not the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, and shed not innocent blood in this place, neither walk after other gods to your hurt, then will I cause you to dwell in this place in the land that I gave to your fathers forever and ever. Behold, you trust in lying words that cannot profit. Will you steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear falsely, and burn incense unto Baal, and walk after other gods whom you know not? And come and stand before me in this house, and just call out my name.
And say, we've been delivered to do these things. That's good. But you see what the house of Yahuwah is? Do good, walk in a just way, don't oppress, and don't worship other gods. That's it. And where did that take you back to? Give them Job 28 and what? 20? No, it's Job 28, 28. It ain't 20. You'll be reading 8 verses for no reason. Job 28 and 28.
Saying, unto man he said, behold, the fear of Yahuwah, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding.
The fear of Yahuwah is wisdom. You understand? You building your house by wisdom. You have to have the reverence and respect for Yahuwah to attain wisdom. Through that reverence and respect, now you can begin to build your house. You can't build your house until you respect the master builder. Now he can give you the skills and the requisite knowledge in order to build said house. And then with that knowledge, you can be able to fill the inner chamber with the precious jewels and riches that you say that you desire. See, niggas want to walk around with chains and diamonds on and all that other type of stuff. I just seen a nigga had a picture of Jim Jones that he said that nigga need to grow up. I mean, look at this nigga. This nigga been like that his whole life. All the nigga had on was a t-shirt, a bucket hat, and a bunch of chains on. You know what I'm saying? Nigga had a lot of chains on. I would just say at some point you would not want to walk around with all them chains on. But that's him though. It's your money. You can do what you want. You know what I'm saying? I think more so than how he dressed, that nigga act like he's still like this nigga talking about lobby boys. You ain't in nobody's lobby. Why is you doing that? You still want to run around with a nigga talking about Sue Woo every day. That's shameful. Talking about you a blood. Nigga, you 55. You see, it'd be different from a nigga who really outside and like a nigga from LA who like, yeah, that nigga still, because them niggas be old and still be a part of that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be no old nigga talking about I'm still banging for the set. Nigga, you finna get Social Security. Damn finna get ARP. But I say them niggas take that junk differently. I seen niggas arguing in the comment section because the nigga was talking about how Chicago gangs is and LA gangs. Because Chicago, that nigga say we don't get jumped in, they get blessed in. That nigga say you gotta know your literature. That nigga say them niggas gotta know literature to join the gang. But see, that junk was different because Chicago gangs wasn't started. They were started under a different idea. You know what I'm saying? So they had rules and structure and a moral code that they were supposed to live by. You know what I'm talking about? And them niggas won't respect you if you don't know it. Like them niggas pick a game. It ain't no like, oh, you got it's 3-4 games around here, you got to pick one. You know what I'm saying? They ain't jumping the nigga in. and all that other stuff. None of this. It's just different. No, everywhere's different. I wouldn't want to be a part of none of that. You ought to be glad you live in a city where that wasn't the reality of your life. Because if we would have lived in Chicago and LA, everybody in here would have been in the game. For the most part, you wouldn't have known nothing else. It wouldn't even been something you look at, oh, this is stupid. All you would have known is, hey, man, niggas black gangster disciples over here. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Niggas P Stone over here. You know what I'm saying? That's all you would have known. You would have known no different. If we would have been living in LA, man, being the blood of a Crip would have just been the natural order of selection. Eric say, man, don't get me started. I'm from Chicago. I know how it goes down. Yeah, it's different. You know what I'm saying? They live different. I don't know why them niggas be putting all them tattoos in their face, making their face look like the bottom of a doggone school desk, but that's their business. Come on, man. Come on back to 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 6. I ain't never understood that tattoo on your face like that. Then you can't do nothing but be a rapper or a criminal. Or a tattoo artist. Vaughn said, you ain't lying. I'm from Chicago. You had different gang members in the same family. I done seen too many niggas tell that story before. You know, since all that killing went down, you know, that's how all people want to talk about it in Chicago and what they got going on. See, when all the killing was going on here, they want to talk about Jacksonville. Now the killing done kind of slowed down a little bit, at least between the rappers, they don't want to talk about it no more. That's how you can tell that it be media type people be fueling the stuff that you see, because they only want to talk about areas when niggas getting killed. Ain't nobody getting killed. They don't want to talk no more. Go ahead, man.
But who was able to build him a house, saying Shamahim of Shamahims cannot contain him? Who am I then that I should build him a house, save only to burn sacrifice?
Remember what we read in 2 Peter chapter 2? That you would be lively stones to make spiritual sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? Remember, Yahushua came as who? Solomon. And what did Solomon do? Solomon built the house. Yahushua came to build the house, but he didn't come to build it with man's hands. You know what I'm talking about? And it's for you to make sacrifices. Psalms 50 and 4. I think the most enticing thing down here in Florida for people to deal with is selling drugs and coochie. I mean, that's what they do down here. They sell monkey and they sell cocaine. Well, I don't even know they sell cocaine no more. You boys don't look like they use cocaine no more. You boys look like they use all the synthetic white people drugs they can find. Come on, man.
He shall call the Shamahims from above into the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Made a covenant with me by what?
By sacrifice.
Romans 12 and 1 on general principle. Hey, Lil Dwight, what you doing? Buffett, man, get that chair and sit in it. No, don't lay in it. Sit in it. Come on.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, Kadash, acceptable unto Elohim, your reasonable service.
Pause for a moment, man. How would you know if you offered yourself as a living sacrifice? How would you know Yahuwah would accept it? Tell him what accepted it means, man. Hey, man. What's acceptable?
You are always toast, well-pleasing and acceptable.
Well-pleasing and acceptable. I think we looked at something with incense last night. I forgot where it was at. Y'all willing to come back to my mind. But listen, how would you know your sacrifice is acceptable? Read Deuteronomy 17 and 1 on general principle. Oh, you want me to pick you up? This not be one of them times, young sir.
You shall not sacrifice unto Yahuwah your Elohim any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish.
Tell him what blemish means. Joanne, I am not here to play with you. I care not to participate in any of your activities.
That's moon, blemish, spot, or defect.
Blemish, spot, or defect. Go to Job chapter 11 for the people on the house, man, verse 12.
For vain man would be wise, though man be born like a wild ass's colt. If you prepare your heart and stretch out your hand toward him.
If you do what?
If you prepare your heart and stretch out your hands toward him.
If you do what?
Prepare your heart and stretch out your hands toward him.
What would occur?
If iniquity in your hand, put it far away.
What else?
Let not wickedness dwell in your tabernacles.
What else?
For then shall you lift up your face without spot.
Didn't we just read about that man? Ain't no wickedness in that man tabernacle. That's part of the reason why he tore it down. But that's neither here nor there. Come on.
Yea, you shall be steadfast and shall not fear, because you shall forget your misery. Remember, as waters that pass away.
You remember how he said you forget your misery? You know what that is? He that's in Mashiach is what? A new creature, and old things are passed away. You know what I'm saying? One of the aspects that you would know you'll be born again is if you don't dwell on your misery. You know what'll happen when you dwell on your misery for an extended period of time? That allows Satan to be able to slide right on in, because that's the type of stuff he need to feed on. He need to feed on things of that nature. The things that, and I hate to use that term because it gets overused in this particular generation, which is trauma. You know what I'm talking about? But the things that bring you great sadness and misery and things of that sort, you know, Satan needs that to feed off on, because if you stay in that type of state, what type of state you think you're going to be in? You're going to be in an emotional state. And when you're in an emotional state, you are much easier for him to attack because you won't be in the Ruach. And when you're not in the Ruach, that means you're not leaning on Yahuwah, because that's where your strength lies. Your strength don't lie in sadness. Now, he tell you to mourn, you know what I'm talking about, for a different reason. But you have to remember that what I mean in that is when you replay negative situations in your mind and you allow those particular situations and circumstances to bring you to a low state, this gives him the opportunity to be able to strike, to drop certain thoughts in your mind, which persuasion don't come from on high. You know what I'm talking about? So you have to be cognizant of that. As Sister Tradina in there, you have to be vigilant and be alert. Just like we read in 1 Peter 5. This is not something that he just going to come down from heaven and warn you about. Now, if you've been filled with his Ruach, the word will come to mind what to do. But even if that come to mind, you still have to have the fortitude to listen to it. Like, nobody's going to come really do this thing for you. He going to give you the word. You have to trust in him and follow behind what he's telling you. What he's not even just what he's telling you, what he's teaching you, as forth as he's trying to direct and guide you in the way that he will want you to go. There's going to be certain things that's going to happen in life. That is a given. But like I said, the adversary seeks for you to keep you in a low state. When you look at what he did, what went down with Job, he thought, okay, if I kill your family, that'll get you in a low state. Job didn't dwell on it. Okay, let me take your riches. Let me attack you physically where you got these boils. Your skin for skin. You give everything for your life. You'll focus on that. And he didn't. You know what I'm saying? His focus stayed on Yahuwah, because that's what he was looking to attack in. Satan eventually got in through his friends, because Job was trying to justify himself to his friends, because his friends were coming and making false accusations. That's why I said the other day, if a nigga's accusing you of some junk, man, and you know you didn't do it, then you don't need to try to justify yourself to people who trying to deem you as being wicked when you know that that's not how you moving. Why do you need to prove yourself to these people? For what cause? For what reason? For what purpose? It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm talking about? If somebody's saying, oh, yeah, man, that man's smashing all the holes, and you know you ain't smashing them, why you standing in front of them trying to, unless the situation going down where you got to go in front of the judges. You know what I'm saying? Then you have to do that. But you just talking to a nigga trying to prove you ain't did something to a nigga because he said you did, or because you dealing with something in your life, and they coming to you telling, well, you must have been sinning, because if you wasn't sinning, you wouldn't be dealing with that. Man, you ain't got no time to be trying to prove nothing to nobody when it comes to them type of situations. Prove something to them for what? You're supposed to learn from that, because it's not what Job did. So that's letting you know that's not what you ought to do. Because what did Yahuwah say about Job's friends in that sentence? He said they didn't speak right like my servant Job did. You don't look at what somebody dealing with in their life and your mind automatically go to, oh, they must be sinning. And you know they serve. Your mind shouldn't even click like that. That's really a reflection of your own wickedness, to be truth be told. Now, it's different if you know an individual is in a situation based off of their own bad decision making. You know what I'm talking about? And that ain't necessarily even got to be that they did no sin. You just didn't make the right choice. That happens. You human. Learn from it and, get better. That's all you really can do. You know what I'm talking about? But all that accusatory pointing, that's devil stuff. But again, as I say this again, and reiterate this fact, you have to be cognizant and aware that, boy, Satan is always looking for an entryway. He always looking for an entryway. Remember, he said this persuasion don't come of him that call you. One of the biggest things that I've heard people say over the years that I know that Satan doing it is making people think, oh, I ain't worthy. Why me? Why would he do this with me? That's everybody. But you know what I'm talking about? But when it comes down to you focusing on that don't come from the Lord. Why would the Lord say, why would I want to choose you? That don't come from him. He don't even operate like that. Ain't nothing in there.
No, this is
Oh. Well, she got the same deal. She'll learn to stop messing with stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Let me tell you something real, man. When it comes to the devil, man, and how he moves, man, this man is always gonna come and try to attack you to make you think that, kind of like how sorry no good niggas try to tell a woman you ain't nothing without me. Nobody will love you. Nobody, why? You know what I'm saying? That's what the devil do. He do the same thing. Or what type of nigga he is. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Sid. Where we at with it? You good on that? So what is to make acceptable sacrifices to you? Acceptable sacrifices is the sacrifice of mercy, the sacrifice of just judgment, the sacrifice of long suffering, the sacrifice of faith, the sacrifice of goodness. You know what I'm talking about? That's what his sacrifice. These are acceptable sacrifices that he will accept. Read Romans 12:1 again. You know what I'm saying? It's not an acceptable sacrifice not to eat pork. That ain't a sacrifice. And that nigga fell for it. Amazing. Romans 12:1.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Elohim, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, Kadash, acceptable unto Elohim, the reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
For I say through the mercy given unto me to every man that is among you, not to think more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as Elohim have dealt to every man the measure of faith.
That's good. Come on back to 2 Chronicles, chapter 2, verse 7. You want to come over here, boy? Nephew.
Send me now, therefore, a man cunning to work in gold and in silver and in brass and in iron and in purple and crimson and blue, and that can skill to grave with the cunning men with me in Yehuda and in Jerusalem. And David, my father, did provide.
Tell him what cunning mean, man.
Called calm, wise, skillful, true, crafty, cunning.
Crafty, cunning. Tell him what grave mean.
A thought to open, to be open, to be let loose, to be thrown open, to free, to loosen, to carve, to engrave. To
carve, to engrave. He wants a man that's skilled in gold, silver, brass, iron. To carve and engrave. What do you think that could be talking about? I want you to go to Ephesians chapter 2. Tell me about what verse 7 says.
That in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his mercy and kindness toward us through Hamashiach Yahushua.
Notice that he said the exceeding riches of his mercy. So one of those pleasant and precious riches to fill your inner chamber with through knowledge is mercy. Because that's the knowledge of God, is to understand that he is what? That he is merciful. That's one of the things you need to fill your inner chamber with. That's one of the riches of God, is to be merciful. You know what he told you? He showed himself merciful to him that is merciful, and mercy rejoices against what? Judgment. Mercy is evidence of the living God being present within you. It ain't nothing to show mercy to a friend, but can you show mercy to an enemy like you seen Saul do, like you seen David do to Saul, or like you seen Yahuwah do to you? Come on, man.
For by mercy are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, the gift of Elohim, not of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship.
You his what?
His workmanship.
Well, tell him what workmanship is. So that's what he's talking about, right? Somebody's need to be skilled to be able to grave in this gold.
For that which has been made a work.
That which has been made a work. Continue, good sir.
For we are his workmanship created in the Mashiach Yahushua unto good works, which Elohim had before ordained that we should walk in them. Wherefore remember that you and
now pause, man. I want you to go to what that is, man. Isaiah 48:10.
Behold, I have refined you, but now with silver I have chosen you in the furnace of affliction.
Tell them what refine means, man. I know it means to test or to smelt. I just want them to hear it again. After that, Malachi 3:1.
Sarah, smelt, to refine, to test.
Now listen. You got this silver, you're taking it through the fire. Let's hear Malachi say, how about this gold, how he going to take it through the fire. And then we're going to understand what it is, what's being carved here.
It say, for my own sake will I do, for how should my name be polluted, and I will not give my esteem unto another. Hearken unto me, O Jacob and Yasharal, my called I the first, I'm also the last.
You read Malachi 3:1? Because you certainly not.
Say, behold, I will send my messenger, he shall prepare the way before me, and the Lord whom you seek shall suddenly come to his temple. Even the messenger of the covenant whom you delighted, behold, he shall come, saith Yahuwah of hosts.
What he coming with?
But who may abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appeared? For he is like a refiner's fire.
He's like a what?
A refiner's fire.
Tell them what refiner's fire is. Hey, sit down, both of you. Y'all playing. Sit down.
Refiner, that's Saraf again.
You know, Saraf each. You know what I'm saying? There's some fire that's gonna test you or smite you, or refine you, or test you. You know what it means to refine something, right? What it means, glory. Yeah, get the impurities out. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do with crack when you cook it. You get the impurities out the cocaine. Get it back to its base form. It's pure. You rolling your eyes. I only mention it because we did talk about this the other day. You need to know what freebase was. I mention that because cocaine is not cocaine in its purest form. Now, cocaine really is supposed to be a plant. It ain't supposed to be turned into that salt that niggas like to play, that pixie dust they like to put in their nose. You're supposed to take that leaf and you can use that leaf for a multitude of actual tangible benefits for the human body. You know what I'm saying? See, there's nothing wrong with the coca leaf. It's when it's turned to cocaine. See, cocaine is not what coca leaf was supposed to be used for. You know what I'm saying? I want to know the nigga who found out, you know what? We could turn this to some dust and snort it. You know what I'm saying? What was you doing to figure that out? You know what I'm talking about? Much less if you put fire to it, you could smoke it. Who was the genius that said, let's put it in a syringe and inject it? That's wild. Oh, Civic finna find out who created cocaine. Let him go on his excursion. You sleep?
A lot of different stuff. One of them say 3,000 years before Mashiach, the Incas and the Andes chewed coca leaves to get their hearts racing. To speed their breathing.
To speed their breathing. And you know the Incas and the Andes like to eat people. Yeah, you know they used to eat hearts. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, man. The first description of the use of cocaine can be found in the memoirs of the Florentine traveler. What's his name here? Amerigo Vespucci. And that's son. For the next 300 years, mostly the advantage of cocaine use also as a medication was emphasized. In 1860, Albert Niemann isolated an active ingredient of coca leaves, which he named cocaine. And always a white man. After his death, his work carried on by his disciple Wilhelm Lawson, who finally in 1865 determined its proper chemical formula. Although the first observations concerning the effect of cocaine on the mucous membranes were made by Niemann and Lawson, the first experimental studies involving the application of cocaine to animals was performed by a Peruvian surgeon, Moreno Mayaz. In 1880, Basil von Anrep published the results of his study concerning the application of cocaine to humans. In the conclusion of his work, he recommended cocaine as a surgical anesthesia. Now, I was aware that cocaine was once a surgical anesthesia. Were y'all aware of that? That's what they used to use for, you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about the snorting. Clearly, this white man up here came up with it to turn it into snorting. And I guess through that liquid form, they found out they could make a powder. He said, but it was finally Carl Kohler who in 1884 empirically demonstrated the benefits of cocaine use in medicine, most of all in ophthalmology. Subsequently, a couple months, the medical world learned and got interested in the use of cocaine for local anesthesia. William Stewart Halstead and his collaborator, Richard John Hall, began their own research on cocaine injections. Eventually, they developed the nerve and regional blocking techniques. Nowadays, due to the potential harmful effects of cocaine and the risk of addiction, the indications for the use of cocaine as an anesthetic are strictly limited. But they give you Percocets.
And they even put cocaine in Coca-Cola.
They did. And what's the other one they give, man? What's the other, man? Oxycontin. Man, they had them white boy going on that Oxycontin, man. I'll never forget that. One day I went to serve a dude some dope. That white boy said, I ran out of my Oxycontin prescription and I don't know what to do. I say, well, shoot, I ain't got nothing. I can't help you. I mean, but I only remember it because of the look of despair in his face. You know what I'm saying? They give a nigga synthetic heroin. But you want to draw the line to give a nigga cocaine for anesthesia? That's amazing. Let me see what history.com got to say about it. Oh, look at that. Sigmund Freud, the Austrian neurologist who founded the field of psychoanalysis, was fascinated with cocaine. Early in his career, he began to experiment with the drug. In 1884, at the age of 28, he wrote a paper called Uber Coca, which described as a song of praise to this magical substance. He overlooked a major downside to the cocaine addiction, and he struggled for the next 12 years to break his cocaine habit. Wow. The coca plant. The Catholic Church in South America saw the use of coca leaf as undermining the spread of Christianity. So Catholic bishops urged the Peruvian government to prohibit the use of coca. Ultimately, it wasn't banned, but they put restrictions on it. There it is. For thousands of years, the indigenous people in the Amazon rainforest and Andes mountains have chewed coca leaves to get an energetic high. European scientists first isolated cocaine from coca leaves in the 18th. So that's who did it. Some old European scientists came up with cocaine, and that's why some of these hoes do some strange things for some change. Ain't that about a slut? It's always somebody fooling with stuff, trying to find something out. They should have left it alone. That's why our people got destroyed, because somebody found out what cocaine was, and then somebody decided to make crack, and then I guess you know what happened after that. Come on around here, man. But you know, it all, and you have to remember something, all jokes aside, right? That white man who came up with cocaine, and that white man who came up with crack, and the United States government and everybody involved who proliferated the market for crack cocaine and every black community throughout the United States of America, boy, you were finna kill them people and do them something dirty. And not just because of the fact that they did it to the children of Yasharal, but the fact that they did it at all. You know what I'm saying? Because at least not with the cocaine production, but The purpose of creating crack was to oppress a group of people. That was its sole rhyme, reason, and purpose. Now we get into something, we get back to this word, but some of this stuff you need to understand and know these things, man. And you can see some of these things and behold the pale horse if you want to read it. Some people are trying to say that them documents ain't real, but I mean, shoot, it is what it is. There was a Department of Defense doggone memo that went out, I want to say in 1972, and in it they described AIDS. They created AIDS, well, not 1972, about 1979. They created AIDS for the purpose of getting rid of undesirables, which was blacks, Hispanics, and homosexuals. See, most of y'all weren't alive, so you don't know. See, when AIDS first came out, they said it was a homosexual disease. Now, and they didn't actually, Ronald Reagan didn't actually acknowledge it till about 1984, 85. It had been spreading for about a good 6-7 years by that time. Its biggest proliferation in the early 8 stages of that was in Washington, D.C., San Francisco, California, Los Angeles, California, Atlanta, Georgia, and New York City, and maybe a couple other cities that my memory doesn't serve me at this particular time. You know what I'm saying? See, they came with crack and AIDS because they felt like we wasn't getting addicted to heroin fast enough for our extermination. That's why they came with that. You know what I'm saying? Once they seen that truth be told, that they couldn't kill people with AIDS like they thought they did, they came with all these fake drugs so now that you can manage it. I don't know if you know who came up with the war on drugs. Are you aware who came up with the war on drugs? It was not Ronald Reagan. It wasn't Bush either. It was Richard Milhouse Nixon. He is the one who termed the coin war on drugs. And he's the one. War on drugs was literally the United States government declaring war on its own people with the drugs that they were supplying them for their own annihilation. Yeah, these people play a dirty game, man. You think you who will watch all that level of oppression and don't turn his head? Now, don't get it twisted. If you decided to participate in the drug trade and participate in illicit sexual behavior, you got to pay the penalty for your own choices also. But don't think that the wicked gonna skate by, because they not. They not. They not at all. Come on, sir. Where you at with it?
Malachi 3 and 2.
Read it again.
3 and 3.
Read Malachi 3 and 2.
But who may abide the day of his coming? Who shall stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire and like fuller's soap. He shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver.
A refiner and purifier of what?
Of silver.
What else?
He shall purify the sons of Levi and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Yahuwah an offering in righteousness.
Tell him what purge means, man. He said he gonna do all these things so that your offerings are offerings in righteousness.
To purify, distill, to strain, to refine.
What the characters is, man?
Like Zayin,
Zayin, Kuf, and Kuf. What would you come up with a Zayin and a double Kuf? You wouldn't say that you cut the light now, would you? Because light wouldn't need to be cut. So you might need to use something different for Zayin on this go round. What would you say, Civic? Or would you not say anything at all? I would say, I don't want to talk. And I don't want to walk. Kufa would be fine. Now, of course, gentlemen, when you're looking at Kufa, what would you have? You don't want no light. Do you want the back of the head or do you want final? Do you want condense or do you want the sun at its horizon? Maybe you want final. Maybe you want at the back of the head. I don't know. I don't think back of the head gonna work. Now, of course, you got Zayin. Would you want to have a weapon? Would you want to be fruitful? Or would you want to harvest? Would you want to be food or would you want to be dig? I think be fruitful would be more apropos. Don Joanne. Leave stuff alone. Get from under that. Get from under that. Dang, that nigga talking to you. So, well, we know in him was light, and the light was the life of men. So in this instance, you just sit back and look at it and say, you know, this last harvest will have life because they've been refined. What you think about that, Civic? That work for you? He said that worked for him. Come on back over here to 2 Chronicles, chapter 2. Hey, boy, go sit down somewhere, bro, and stay still. 2 and 8.
It say, send me also cedar trees, fir trees, and algum trees out of Lebanon. For I know that your servants can skill to cut timber in Lebanon, and behold, my servants with your servants.
Notice that he said skill to cut timber. You shouldn't get your silly behind up under that. So deal with the consequences thereof. So listen, what does he mean when he talking about cutting timber? Let's keep on while you're thinking on that. Just go ahead with it, man. Verse 9. You shouldn't be under that.
Even to prepare me timber in abundance for the house which I am about to build, wonderful, great.
He said, even prepare me what?
Timber in abundance
for the house which I am
about to build, wonderful, great.
Tell them what wonderful, great is, man.
Wonderful is Palah.
You know, I already know what that is.
Great is good dog.
This is a distinguishing act, great and wonderful. What is this great and wonderful act that he say, prepare me timber? Tell them what timber is, man. Okay. Brother Marvin got on here. Charles Ronley Alder Wright, a chemist and physicist, created heron in the late 1800s, originally known as diamorphine. Don't they give y'all morphine at the hospital? Huh? What do you say? I can't hear you, man. No, I know what it's for. I'm asking, do they give it to you? That's funny, though. They didn't want to give you cocaine in the hospital. They sure don't mind giving you a multitude of different types of heroin, though. And I think heroin way more addictive than cocaine could ever imagine to be. Come on, sir.
Eights, tree, wood, timber.
So you notice here, what you think this man mean when he say, prepare me tree in abundance for the house which I'm about to build? Well, let's take a look, man. Matthew 26:1. Don't come over here. Go sit down. I'm not with none of that what y'all on today. Go sit down. Go sit down. Go sit down.
And it came to pass when Yahushua finished all these things, he said unto his disciples, you know that after 2 days Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes, the elders of the people, unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Yahushua by subtlety and kill.
Give me verse 14.
Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said, what will you give me, and I will deliver him unto you? They covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. Now the first of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying unto him, where were you that we prepared for you to eat the Passover? Say, go into the city to such a man and say unto him,
you know, a lot of people argue about did he eat the Passover, like according to what's in Exodus. And you know, them niggas simple. I'm gonna tell you something. I told you this before, right? You got a lot of people feel like you got to go get you a lamb, kill him on the 10th day. You know what I'm talking about? All this type of raise him up, cook him whole, all this type of stuff, man. Them people wasn't even doing that in the book. You know, they only did that one time. And that was in Egypt. Do you read them doing that in Chronicles? You know what Chronicles I'm talking about? Y'all know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Oh, I don't think y'all know what I'm talking about. Hold on, man. Come over here to 2 Chronicles 30, man. Yeah, that's it. Chapter 29, man, verse 1.
Hezekiah began to reign 25 years old, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name Abijah, the daughter of Zechariah.
And he did
right in the sight of Yahuwah,
according
to all that David his father had done.
He, in the first year
of his reign, in the first month,
opened the doors
of the house of Yahuwah and repaired them.
Tell him what repair means. He strengthened the doors. Now, we already didn't talk about this in 2 Kings. He strengthened the doors. Continue.
And he brought in the priests and the Levites and gathered them together in the east street.
And what he told them to do.
Hear me, you Levites, sanctify now yourselves.
And sanctify.
The house of Yahuwah Elohim.
And carry what?
The filthiness out of the Kadash.
Tell them what filthiness means. See, this goes back to that. By knowledge, you can fill your inner chambers with precious and pleasant riches, but you can't do nothing with your. Remember, we were talking about last night, man, about that leaven. You thinking because you ain't ate no bread for a week, or you put that stuff out your house, that means something. Man, the purpose of putting the leaven out is for you to remember to put the filthiness out of the Kadash place. Haven't we already read in Corinthians that he said, you are the temple of the living Elohim? So you have to put that stuff out. What is filthiness, good sir?
Nadah. Impurity, filthiness, minstrel, set apart. Impurity,
filthiness. Ain't that what we just read about a blemish? That's impurity? That's a defect. Sin is a defect. All them works of the flesh we read in Galatians 5 and 19, those are defects. To be an adulterer is a defect. To be a fornicator is a defect. To be a liar is a defect. To be jealous and envious and unfaithful and a murderer and all of those things, those are defects. Those are blemishes. You can't make no sacrifices to Yahuwah and he gonna take. That's what my man Brandon be talking about when he when he's saying, "Hey man, we can't keep the feast." See the issue. And he right about this here, right? Like I told you, man, when Passover come around. This the only time you see Bruce taking pictures when they with their congregation. This the only time you see nigga put their best outfit on. Everybody want to be seen. That's not what this is for. You supposed to be mournfully serving Yahuwah. You supposed to be acknowledged. This is a day that you've been set free. This ain't no party like that, man. Taking flicks and all this other type of stuff. Now, of course, he was talking about the things required that some people do, charging money for these particular feasts. But, you know, people got to eat. So money has to be raised. You know what I'm talking about? But it's definitely been made a spectacle. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no spectacle. The same way I told you the tabernacle, you see every brew posting pictures of them camping on it. Everybody wants you to see him outside. Look at my tent. You didn't make, and you think that you doing something. You think because you went outside and you killed the lamb on the 10th day, and then you brought the lamb out, slaughtered them, and roasted them whole. You thought you were doing something. Boy, you wicked as hell. Then you don't realize that once you do that, boy, everything in that law you got to do. And I say, I'm talking about to the T. You can't falter and fold and none of it. Them niggas will do all that and don't believe nothing this man said and ain't took a tap of filthiness nowhere out their body. And niggas will sit back and gnash their teeth. See, he believe in breaking the law. Shut your funky, stinking behind up. I hate you niggas. Because you niggas think you justified by doing these things. What did that man tell you? He said you do the tithe of mint, anise, and cumin. Ain't that what he said? But the weightier matters of the law, you don't do none of that. You ain't got no judgment. You ain't got no mercy. You ain't got no faith. And your funky stank dog behind can't go nowhere in the law and point where he say these things out and they clear as day. Would it not be considering to be mercy in the law when Moses was willing to go sacrifice himself to atone for the people? Would it not be an example of mercy in the law when Moses went to plead on the people's behalf when Yahuwah said, I'll kill them all as one man? Would it not be proper judgment when the people, when Yahushua son of Nun say, the men prophesying in the camp, and he said, I would to Elohim that all Yah's people be prophets. Is that not just judgment? What are we talking about here, man? What about the aspect of faith in Numbers 13 when them people went and spied the land and Caleb and Joshua say, don't fear them people, we could take them, they food for us. You don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about not eating pork today. That's the only part that resonated with you. The feast days, that's the only part that resonated with you. It didn't resonate for you to not be a slanderer of your brother going up and down to people. It didn't resonate with you to love your neighbor as yourself. It didn't resonate with you not to hold no grudge against your neighbor. That didn't resonate with you. You stinking, funky bastard. Come on, good sir.
Say, for our fathers have trespassed.
This is 2 Chronicles 29:6.
For our fathers have trespassed and done evil in the eyes of Yahuwah our Elohim and have forsaken him. And have turned away their faces from the habitation of Yahuwah and turned back. He said they turned their face away from the house of God and turned their back to it. Ain't that's what he said in Ezekiel they were doing when they were worshiping the sun god?
Come on, man.
Also, they have shut up the doors of the porch
And put out the what?
the lamps,
and have not what?
Burned incense, nor offered burnt offerings in the Kadash unto the Elohim Yasharal.
You know what that means when you put out the lamps? You done put out the word in your heart, man. Verse 8.
Wherefore the wrath of Yahuwah was upon Yehuda and Jerusalem, and he have delivered them to trouble, to astonishment, to hissing, as you see with your eyes.
Below.
Our fathers have fallen by the sword, and our sons and our daughters and our wives in the captivity for this. Now in my heart to make a covenant with Yahuwah Elohim Yasharal, that his fierce wrath may turn away from
Don't you realize that that's the same thing? Tell them what Hezekiah's name means for one. Shalom, Brother Ernest. I know, you ready to tell the name. Yeah, that's what I named my boy.
Yahuwah's my strength.
You picked that name or your husband did? I know you ain't picking. You probably want to name that nigga Earl.
No,
Name him who? Carter. Nigga, what? So you came up with Carter? Carter. Well, your husband saved that boy. So you were gonna call that boy Carter Eugene?
no, it wasn't going to be Eugene.
That's a horrible name.
It wasn't going to be Eugene. I put Eugene because I thought Hezekiah was already an old name. So I said, well, I'm going to add Eugene.
How you feel like Hezekiah an old name?
It is old name.
How many niggas you know named Hezekiah besides Hezekiah Walker?
Oh,
That's the only Hezekiah you know.
I was 20 when I got pregnant. I didn't think about Hezekiah.
Clearly, you wanted to name him Carter. Where you got Carter from?
I just told you, he was one of my dreams.
How you gonna? You wanted to?
Go ahead.
You got that from Jay-Z and Lil Wayne. Damn, you was that big of a fan? You want to give a nigga their last name?
No.
What's good, Barrett? That's a white boy name. Carter with a K. Oh, this nigga extra gay.
I really did want to be Carter.
Thank the Lord. That boy, that Carter with a K. His name is Hezekiah. Darius had to intercede on his son's behalf and save him from a year of ridicule, for years of ridicule. Lord of mercy. Reverb 10 again, man. That's definitely a Nancy boy name. Hey, Carter. Hey, Carter. Who that? But see, you can slide that in the middle name. You can't lead with him on the first name. See, he got double C's. See, you could just call him CC. Nobody ever know. It is, but it's niggas who I know a lady. That's her initial. She called it. I ain't gonna say her last name, but I mean, it's niggas who do that. But it's not CC like CI. It's like CC. Like those are her initials. That's what I'm talking about. Those are her initials. Like my initials are DJ. Some people go by their initials. No, I would not. I would have called him Eugene. What you would have named his middle name?
I don't know. I just knew I wanted to call it. I didn't think anything about it.
I didn't want him with it. Now you ain't got no child with a C name.
Yeah, I would have just.
You ain't finna do that boy like that. So you just want a house full of women.
Whatever the good Lord.
That's Jaguar decision.
And people thought their clips here. You say it's over. It's the Lord outside. You know what I'm talking about? No, ain't no scriptures after dark. You niggas start doing scriptures after dark, I'm going home. I don't know what you niggas got going on, but I don't want nothing to do with it. You know what I'm talking about? No, because it's married people in here. Y'all having scriptures after dark. That's a level of debauchery, word or not. I ain't never want no part of. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna get in my car and go. Okay, what y'all do after that? Read verse 10 again, man.
Say now in my heart to make a covenant with Yahuwah Elohim and Yasharal, that his fierce wrath may turn away from us.
Notice that's what read me Romans 5:1. I just do that.
Therefore, being justified by faith, we have shalom with Elohim through our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, by whom also we have access by faith into his mercy wherein we stand, and rejoice in hope of the esteem Elohim. And not only, but we esteem in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation work patience, and patience experience, and experience hope. And hope make not ashamed, because the love of Elohim is shed abroad in our hearts, by the Ruach HaKadosh which is given unto us. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Mashiach died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But Elohim commended his love toward us, and that while we were yet sinners, Hamashiach died for us. Much more then, being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him.
Saved from wrath through who?
Through him.
Hey, and what did he tell you in Matthew 26? Take, drink, this is my blood in the New Testament shed for many for the remission of sins. So when you see Hezekiah saying, tell him what Hezekiah's name means, by the way.
Yahuwah is our strength.
Yahuwah is my strength. And the strength of Yahuwah is to what? To trust in him. And Hezekiah said it into his heart, or Yahuwah is my strength, to make a covenant with him that the fierce wrath might turn. And he made this covenant when? During Passover. So let's look at verse 11. He said, my sons, don't be what? This is 2 Chronicles 29 and 11.
Be not now negligent, for Yahuwah have chosen you to stand before him, to serve him, that you should minister unto him and burn incense.
Tell him what negligent means. You ever been negligent? You know what negligent means? That means you ain't been paying attention.
That's shalah, to be negligent, to mislead, to deceive.
Don't be around here lying to people. You got to remember, these the Levites, these the leaders of the house. You can't be out here lying to the people. You can't be doing that. Give me verse 17, man. Matter of fact, back it up, man. Back it up to 15. 2 Chronicles 29 to 15. We also in 2 Chronicles chapter 2.
And they gathered their brethren and sanctified themselves and came according to the commandment of the king by the word of Yahuwah to cleanse the house of Yahuwah.
Tell them what cleanse means.
Taught here to be clean, to be pure.
See, that's one of the jobs of a preacher. A preacher's supposed to cleanse the house. Meaning, they supposed to bring the word in order for the people to be washed. But that's not what these niggas doing. They telling you were Israelite. They telling you this, that, there, and the third. But your heart still ain't clean. Your house ain't clean. Let's read Mark 7 and 15 on general principle. I ain't gonna hold y'all on here too long.
There is nothing from without a man, and that entering into him can defile him.
For that,
but the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man.
What are those things?
If any man have ears to hear, let him hear.
Listen.
And when he was entered into the house of the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he said unto them, are you so without understanding?
He said, you don't understand this neither?
Do you not perceive that whatsoever thing from without enter into the man cannot defile?
See, I know. See, that's what them Christians use to say you can eat anything. Man, if you've been in the word for over 5 years and you still arguing with somebody about that type of stuff, just go ahead and get to the top of your house, man, and jump off. Because you're just wasting your time, man. If them people look at that and they say that mean they can eat anything they want, then let them. Focus on what, see, you niggas be so worried about trying to prove these people wrong instead of focusing on what the man talking about. I don't give a damn. Eat Porky on his back if you think that's what this man talking about. We know full well this man was talking, these people came at him, why you ain't washing your hands before you ate? And it goes back to what we were talking about last night in Matthew 23. You want the outside of the cup to be clean, but the inside is full of hypocrisy and dead men's bones. So they coming at this man talking about how he eat bread and he ain't washed his hands. And they say, you ain't washed your behind in years and you still eat. And you'll miss the point of what he talking about. They were talking about that today. They were talking with some rabbinical Jews. You know what a rabbinical Jew is? You know what a rabbinical Jew is? Y'all ain't never heard the term rabbinical Jew? I was familiar with it before Clubhouse. The Pharisees are what considered to be rabbinical Jews. Do you know what the Pharisees, number one thing that they went by? No, not just that. I'm talking about you could get the context clues from the text of what rabbinical Jews do. So you got different types of Jews. You got Samaritan Jews, Catharite Jews, Orthodox Jews, but rabbinical Jews are the Jews that use the Talmud. Y'all know what the Talmud is? The Talmud is an oral tradition or the oral interpretation of the law. So when you read in Matthew 15, he say your customs say that if you do this here, you can dishonor father and mother. It's not an offense. You know what I'm talking about? See, the Mishnah, what they came at the man with was like, it's unlawful for you to eat and not wash your hands, even though the law don't say that. So that's one of the problems that they had with the Lord also. See, what we read last night in Mark 10, see, the oral law say you can divorce your wife for anything. So when they hear him saying, no, you can't do X, Y, Z, they looking at him like you going against the law, but really and truthfully, they were stuck because they ain't had no response for that. They didn't know what to say to him because they wasn't expecting that response. That's why they say, Moses said you could put away your wife for anything. What you say? That's why they came at him like that. Come on with it. Yeah, them boys were arguing back and forth about that stuff. I mentioned that because they were talking about some of the things that Mashiach said that they didn't agree with, or some of the things that he did. Like dude was saying, this stuff that go against the Torah all the time. And like they mentioned David getting the shewbread. See, it's a lot of rabbinical Jews and Orthodox Jews, hell, a lot of Israelites also, that the Ruach of God ain't in them. Like when you look at that situation with David getting the shewbread, you would have so many niggas who would be like, I ain't gonna break the law, that they would let a nigga starve to death. Because you don't know God, dummy. That priest knew God. That's why that priest said what he told them boy. You done kept yourself for a women couple days. You know this ain't common bread. That priest wasn't finna send them men away hungry. These niggas will send you away hungry talking about I kept the law, but you ain't keep the Ruach of God. That's why you going to hell, you jackass. That's why you will hate you niggas. Because you thinking you doing something. I kept the law, but you didn't show forth who he is. Because he ain't in you. You thought you did something. You did nothing. How many times I told you this before? You got bruised that'll be out there on the street, see a nigga say he hungry, a store or a restaurant right there, and they be like, nah, I can't buy and sell on the Sabbath, instead of going in there because that's the only opportunity you had, and went in there and bought that man something to eat and gave him something to eat so he would see the mercy of God. They won't even do it. Because they'll say they'll keep the law, but in your keeping the law, you actually broke it. But you don't think you broke it. You know what I'm talking about? You got niggas who say you can't cook on the Sabbath and can see a nigga and won't cook him nothing to eat. And then you thinking you keeping the law, you just broke it. You know how you just broke it? Because you showed wrong judgment and you showed no mercy. You idiot. But you thought you were justified. You know what I'm talking about? All you gonna be is a justy nigga in hell, nigga. That's what you gonna be. Because the power of God ain't in you. You ain't got his mind, you ain't got his spirit, you don't know his word. How in the world you say you represent him and you that goddamn stupid? Yeah, I said it. And if you don't like it, unsubscribe. Funny looking boy. Come on, man. Where we at with it?
Mark 7:19.
Keep on with it.
See, because it enter not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out into the drought, purging all meats. Mm-hmm. He said, that which come out of the man, that defile the man.
What come out the man?
For from within, out of the heart of men proceed.
Please say from within, out of the what?
Out of the heart.
Out of the inner chamber of man. What come out of that?
Proceed evil thoughts.
Pause. Evil thoughts or evil designs. And what he said, one of the things that he hate, a heart that divides, wicked imagination. See, that's an abomination. You got them evil thoughts. See, that's what make you defile. You need to get that filthiness out this holy place. What else?
Adulteries.
Now you see this here. Remember, right in the book of Jeremiah, Jeremiah say, boy, they all lined up at their neighbor's house, neighing after each other wives, man. That's how your forefathers were moving now. They were posted up at their neighbor's house, lusting after their wives. Come on with it.
Fornication.
We already know what that is. Now let's just go ahead and be clear. Let's not even talk about the aspect of not having sex and you not married. Let's talk about the fornication niggas was really out here doing. These nasty niggas were having sex with women on her menstrual cycle. They were having sex with their sister. They was having sex with a woman and her daughter. Didn't they tell you in Amos? He said that they all lined up and went into the same maid. You running the train. You had sex with your mama, with your auntie. You were homosexual. See, a lot of people talk about lesbianism ain't in the law. If you think you is co-signing two women scissoring and carpet munching, you's a fool if I ever seen one. Come on with it. What's the next one?
Murders.
Well, that's self-explanatory. And guess what? He said, if you hate your brother in your heart without a cause, guess what you is? So you just like Abel, nigga. You been marked. You ain't in the genealogy. You ain't the son of God. You's a bastard. Come on with it.
Got theft.
Theft. You like to steal.
Covetousness.
Oh, you're an idolater.
Wickedness.
Oh, you just like to just be disagreeable.
Deceit.
Oh, you like to tell lies.
Lasciviousness.
Hold on, didn't he tell you telling lies is an abomination? One of the 6 things, 7 that even Yahuwah hate. What's the next thing you said?
Lasciviousness.
Oh, you always you burning in your lust.
An evil eye.
Oh boy, what's an evil eye? Tell them what an evil eye is. You know what I'm saying? I only heard women say I gave him the evil eye. I'd be like, well, dang. What's an evil eye?
Evil is neighbors. That's full of labors, annoyances, hardships, bad of a bad nature or condition.
You just bad all the way around.
And then we got blasphemy. Pride.
Hold on, ain't pride one of the things that 6 things, even 7 that Yahuwah hate? What else?
Foolishness.
Now you just stupid.
And all these evil things come from within and defile the man.
See, people don't like to hear stuff like that. Listen, right? Look at verse. He said that's the stuff you got to cleanse out the house of Yahuwah, right? Let's look at verse 18, 17, I should say. Now they began when? He ain't got that yet. Give him his hand. He like to work his phone. He don't like to flip pages. He's a new age man.
Now they began on the first of the first month to sanctify, and on the 8th of the month came they to the porch of Yahuwah.
So they sanctified
the house of Yahuwah in 8 days.
And in the 16th
day of the first month they made an end.
And what they did, then they went in.
Hezekiah the king had said,
we have what?
Cleanse all the house of Yahuwah.
And the altar.
Of burnt offering.
With all the vessels.
Thereof. And the shewbread table with all the vessels thereof.
Moreover, all the vessels.
Which King Ahaz in his reign did cast away in his transgression.
Have we what?
Prepared and sanctified.
And behold.
They before the altar of Yahuwah.
So let's pause, right? They got the house clean. Let's come over here to chapter 30. Let's look at verse 1.
And Hezekiah sent to all Yasharal and Yehuda and wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh that they should come to the house of Yahuwah at Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto Yahuwah.
For the mallet
had taken counsel and his princes and all the congregation in Jerusalem to keep the Passover in the 2nd month.
Why you think they kept the Passover in the 2nd month instead of the 1st? Why you think they kept the Passover in the 2nd month instead of 1st month? And put these in the trash. Put them right there. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Why do you think they kept the Passover in the 2nd month and not the 1st? Y'all should know this. That's easy money. People was unclean. Didn't he tell you that if you was unclean by reason of journey or by dead body, that you keep it in the 14th day or the 15th day of the 2nd month? Ain't that what it goes? Well, shoot, they were definitely unclean for a multitude of reasons. So that's why they kept it in the 2nd month. Let's look at what Hezekiah say in regards to that.
For the king had taken counsel and his princes and all the congregation to keep the Passover in the 2nd month, for they could not keep it at that time.
They said they could not keep it at that time.
Because the priests had not sanctified themselves sufficiently.
Neither had the people
gathered themselves together to Jerusalem.
Yeah, right. That's it, Barry. And the thing what?
Please the king and all the congregation.
So they established
a decree to make proclamation about all Yasharal
from Beersheba
even to Dan
that they should come up
to keep the Passover unto Yahuwah Elohim.
For they had not done
of a long as it is written, as it was written.
He said they hadn't done that in a long time. That's unfortunate. Let's continue.
So the post went with the letters from the king and his princes throughout all Yasharal and Yehuda, and according to the commandment of the king, saying,
You sons,
Yasharal,
turn again,
unto Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Yasharal,
and he will return
to the remnant of you
that are escaped.
out of the hand of the kings of Assyria.
Be not like your fathers,
and like your brethren,
which trespassed,
against Yahuwah Elohim of their fathers,
therefore gave them up,
to desolation.
as you see.
Now be you not stiff-necked as your fathers,
Yield yourselves,
unto Yahuwah,
enter into his sanctuary.
which he hath sanctified forever.
Paul, didn't Yahushua say, sanctify them with their truth? I've sanctified myself by the truth. He wants you to enter into that same sanctuary, which is him. What is a sanctuary? It's a place of rest. You can give him a definition by strict definition.
That's Mikdash, a sacred place, a sanctuary, a Kadash place. Consecrated thing or place.
That's it. Verse 9, man.
For if you turn again unto Yahuwah, your brethren and your children, compassion before them that lead them captive,
So shall they come again
into this land,
for Yahuwah Elohim,
gracious and merciful,
and he will not turn away
face from you,
if you what?
return to
That's
him.
all. That's all you need to realize, right? If the man ain't turned you reprobate, you just need to return to him. Didn't the man just say he's gracious and merciful? But they act like that grace and mercy didn't come up to the new covenant. Ain't that how they like to talk? Or that's a New Testament thing. No, it's not. You just a wicked bastard. That's why you thought it was a New Testament thing. Funky. I'm talking about, come on, man. I hate you.
It says, so the post passed from city to city through the country of Ephraim and Manasseh, even unto Zebulun, but they laughed them to scorn and mocked them. Nevertheless,
Listen what it said. They did what? They laughed them to scorn and mocked them. Shalom, brother Mike. Yes, sir. Yeah, second Passover. You don't have to eat unleavened bread in second Passover per se. If you weren't clean to take the first one. Now they ate unleavened bread for this particular Passover because this was a Passover sanctified for all the people. But if you took second Passover, like say next month, because you were unclean for whatever reason, now of course we would give you unleavened bread with that wine, but you wouldn't be. It's not a week-long thing where you would be required to put leaven out your house and not eat leaven. It's just that now you're able to take the Passover if you weren't able to do it then. Because if you were unclean by whatever reason during unleavened bread, you just wouldn't have partook in the Passover, but you still would have been eating unleavened bread for that week. You know what I'm saying? And partaking the Passover in that time, you wouldn't have sat down and ate the lamb. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's really it. Like I know people like to complicate the word and make it, you know what I'm saying? But it was just as simple as that. At the end of the day, Passover was just a feast. It was the first Passover where a miraculous work was done. The point of Passover or unleavened bread was the purpose of remembrance. You're welcome, brother. The work of Yahuwah, to keep that in remembrance in the mind of your sons. That's what he told you in the law. And it's to come together to feast, to rejoice in your God, and to hear the word. It's not that complicated of a deal. The reason why I say that, because I know a lot of people get perplexed. They'll ask me, like, well, what do you do for the feast? Eat and go through the word. Rejoice in Yahuwah. It's really that simple. It's man that have hope. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Most congregations do not gather and do what we do. Every congregation in America who say they serve Yahuwah, not just America, from one end of the earth to the other, you all supposed to gather and eat for the whole duration of the feast. You all supposed to gather for the. What do you think they were doing? You think they just showed up for the first and the last day and the Sabbath and went home? It was a pilgrimage feast. They were there the whole time. You think if you came all the way from Naphtali to Jerusalem, you was going to come all the way there for the first day of the feast, go back home and come back for the last? Why do you think he said if the journey was long, you could turn your stuff into money and get whatever your soul desired? Because you done came a long way to be here. You think you finna go back home after a day? What do most brews do during unleavened bread? They'll show up for the first day and they have service for the last. And that's it. I remember a dude told me it's impossible to have service every day. I said, why is it impossible? It's only impossible because people don't want to do it. Because don't nobody want to do it. Because you don't really want to hear word for 8 days straight because you don't love God. That man say his word is a burden unto you. Get Jeremiah 6:16. That's what he said today.
Thus saith Yahuwah, stand you in the ways and see and ask for the old paths, Where's the good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your soul.
He said, but we will not
walk. Also, I said, watchmen over you.
Give me verse 10, because that's what I really want.
To whom shall I speak and give warning that they may hear? Behold, their ear uncircumcised.
Their ear is what?
Uncircumcised.
What else?
They cannot hearken. Behold, the word of Yahuwah is unto them a reproach.
A reproach.
They have no delight in it.
You don't take pleasure in it. Anybody who take pleasure in Yahuwah going to take pleasure at the bringing forth of his word anytime, anywhere. It ain't going to be like, dang, I got to come do this again. Just know you're going to hell. And you're not going to hell because I want you to go. Because if that's how you look at him for that, that's how you look at him for everything. That means you look at it, whatever service of Yahuwah come in your life is a burden for you. Then you have to sit back and look at, why is the giver and sustainer of life, why is you serving him a burden to you? It's only a burden to you because you don't want to do it. Listen, when you run across a woman and she always complaining about serving her family, it's because she don't want to be a wife. When you turn around and you look at a nigga always talking about, I got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do that, because you don't want to be a son of God. That's not what you want to do. See, I told you, my man, you know, he got his podcast. What do you call it? The Break from Toxicity. They were talking about that. Are women single by force or choice? You know what I'm saying? And the women did going in this, that, there, and the third. But as you can hear some of those ladies talking, that you don't want to be a wife. That's not what you want to do, because you don't want to serve nobody. You want to be served. You know what I'm saying? Like I literally just seen a woman say, see, this be the cap. That's why men, you can't care what women talking about. If you was a provider male, you know a traditional woman don't work. You know what I told that hoe? I said, that's why you want a godly woman. You want no traditional woman. What is that? And why in the hell do you think it's a man's duty for you to just sit around and do absolutely nothing? Because you don't want to be a wife. This woman say traditional women. I've told you, look in history. I don't know where these people get from that traditional women ain't never worked. I don't know where they get that from. Because have you seen that in your word where any of your foremothers didn't do nothing? What was Rachel out there doing? She was tending the sheep, was she not? What was Rebecca doing? The same thing. These women just didn't sit around and do nothing. I say, see, that's y'all Leave It to Beaver stuff you done seen when the white folk put on TV, and you think that's what that is. That's not what they were doing. Them women was out there tending the fields, man. What world you been living in, man? I wonder, do people actually read history books? I'm talking about all. I never had a thought that like this here because I done read certain history books before. I've never seen anywhere except in modern America from maybe the 1930s to about the 1960s where women stayed at the house. Have you ever read about the frontiers women? What do you think the women were doing? You think they were just burning coals at the log cabin? They was right out there with everybody. If that man was tending to the cattle, she was tending to the corn. That's what they were doing. You know what they like to say? Women ain't have bank accounts till such and such. I don't want to hear that crap. When you had during World War I and II, women were dog machines. Making all the boats, all the guns, everything. Now, the bank account thing, I ain't never even took my time to look into that to see if that's true or not. A woman couldn't buy a house without a man. I was wondering, well, how does Madam C.J. Walker become a millionaire then? Because she had it. Y'all know who that is, don't you? I hope y'all niggas in here know who that is. You know who that is? Huh? You heard? You said the hair lady? You know who that is? No, because we ain't never told. What's that?
She was rich, but ain't got no account.
Yeah, how she rich? She ain't got no bank account. This woman a known million. The woman said Native Americans, we hunt. I don't know if the lady was out there hunting. You could tell me better than I could. Huh? Yeah. She was selling all type of hair products. You know what I'm saying? Straightening comb. Man, it's a lot of stuff, man. If you look at it, it was a lot of black women came up with a lot of stuff and were getting plenty of money. I'm not saying it was the norm, you know what I'm saying? But it was several black women, they were getting plenty of money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, plenty of money. You know what I'm saying? It were white women who were getting money. It's just a narrative that people like to spin to make you believe that women were not doing anything. And they were just helpless at the mercy of a man. The difference why they spin that narrative is because people didn't get divorced like that. But also, we've talked about this before, people were hoeing back then like they hoe now. They just were more discreet. Come on, they had brothels. He said, I got a book that said this white women had their own slaves apart from their husbands. I have read that also. That white women were buying their own slaves with no man. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. When you look at the history that they don't talk about, you'll be like, Nick, hell, there's a lot of niggas on slaves. They don't like to talk about that either. You know what I'm talking about? But that's neither here nor there. We're going to let that stay off in the cut. You know what I'm talking about? Because then they're going to get upset. Because this is what I told the lady. She say, all you men out here slinging loose meat. And I told her what I told y'all before. I said, you know most men don't get sex right. I'm talking about in general. No, you know the term incel, you know what that means, right? It means involuntarily celibate. Nobody's calling women incels. How many women have you been heard that a woman can never be involuntarily celibate? You know why? Because if she offers vagina, it's going to be a dirty dick nigga somewhere who will take it. Every woman can walk out this door right now, and even if she got turned by 5 niggas, the 6th nigga going, it ain't too many dudes that's going to be like, hey, you want some coochie? He like, nah. Most dudes going to take it, unfortunately. Ain't too many dudes can walk outside and walk up to women and say, you want some penis? That nigga's going to jail. You know what I'm talking about? He is going to jail. If a woman walk up and say, do you want some vagina? That's considered normal. If a man offers his penis, that's considered sexual harassment and a crime. I'm trying to give her this type of logic to understand that it's not what you think in your mind. It's a select group of men that have that ability. Look here, man. The average man has to approach women to get women. A select group of men, women approach them. You know what I'm saying? That's not every man. Then I asked the lady this question. I said, let me ask you this question. I said, how many women you know trick with crackheads? She was like, what? Why would you ask me that? I'm asking you a question. How many women do you know will go outside, see a crackhead on the corner, and say, hey, here's $30. Give me some pipe. I say, you know how many men I know a trick with? Well, that's because you men. I'm trying to give you an example of something. Then I slowed it down for, I say, baby, I say, how many women you know trick with prostitutes? I say, how many women you know do that? I say, if it was so easy for men to get access to a woman, there wouldn't be no prostitutes. There wouldn't be. Men are paying for pleasure. You know, if you're paying, I'm not talking about a dude that say, I don't want to talk because I got it because he's just a trick. I'm talking about you got men who can't get, look at right, this is not a city for prostitution. Do y'all remember the Victims Advocate? Do they still make that? Do you remember that section, shame, shame, shame? Did you see some of them damn women in that man? Them crackheads and niggas going out the house drinking with them. He got a family at home. This ain't just no dude. This man got wife and kids. He going to trick with Gummy Betty. How? Women don't do that. We had that conversation before. How many of y'all would blow yourself up for the chance for 70 male virgins? Them Arab men blowing themselves up for the opportunity of 70 virgins. Ain't no women doing that. You know why? Because if you had a physical lust that you want to fulfill, it is nothing for you to fulfill it. A man can't do that. Where a lot of women get clouded in their mind with it is you think about the men who can do that, and because you see that 1 or 2 men who can do that, you think every man can do that. And boy, there's a reason why porn is a $1 billion industry, and it ain't because of just women. It's because it's a boy who can't get none, and his whole room is defiled. He stay on the hub. I ain't never went in no woman's house and seen a doggone mass collection of pornography in it. Man, when I was young, my homeboy Jeff had a false ceiling in his room. I said, come on, bro, this is ridiculous. He watched it every day. I don't want to look at this. I bet ain't none of your friends ever came. You ever went to one of your friends' house and it was a group of them sitting there looking at porn. Niggas are sitting in the house together, watching it together. Why is y'all doing this? Man, when I was in prison, man, they had a DVD. They used to let us watch movies. One of them boys found a pornography DVD boy down there. I said, man, I don't want to sit there and look at that in a room full of men. All you niggas are aroused. Ain't a woman in sight. I'm straight on that. You know what I'm talking about? That's just not I don't want to partake in that. That's something you want to do alone. You got your friends around, and ain't nobody on some funny stuff. Okay. You keep taking that. It's 15 dudes right here, man. Come on, bro. Man, I remember my homeboy Snoop say, man, I got Spike Lee do the right thing. Man, y'all come to the house. Man, we get around here, man. This nigga had a porn. Man, I got him a walk down. I say, come on, bro. It's 6 niggas in here. How the hell did you thought that was acceptable to put that on? I'm not gonna sit in here and watch this with you. Much less these niggas. You talking about teenage boys too. I'm good, bro. I'm going home. I'm going to the park to play basketball. This is ridiculous. Y'all don't have them type of conversations. You know how far I go with y'all? Y'all walking around each other, changing clothes in your drawers. That's about as far as it goes. Y'all are not finna be sitting around here watching no porn together. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not doing that because you don't want nobody to know that you look at it. I know some of y'all were nasty looking at porn. Mm-hmm. You was in the house looking at porn. Yeah, you were. Nasty nigga. That's the difference. I just noticed that, women be looking at porn, they don't want nobody to know. See, dudes don't want nobody to know, but you know. You know what I'm saying? Because he gonna be like, boy, I got me a new one, boy. He can't keep it to himself. He got less because he wants somebody to see what he's seen. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, man, that ain't normal, man. That's just based on the society that we live in. That ain't normal. You gotta ask yourself, as a man, that's what I take. Ain't like dudes are boast about how much porn they look at. Come on, bro. Nigga halfway blind, man. Around here like Quagmire. One arm bigger than the other.
Yeah, that's high school. Nickname porno. I ain't gonna say his name, but porno.
Woo, boy, Lord of mercy. But they say, well, men can buy women, no. So in that sense, it ain't hard to fulfill lust. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to tell her. Like, they just thinking the average dude just can get women. Because they didn't know the term incel. There's no woman has ever been called an incel. I thought incels hated women. I say they hate women because it's called incel, involuntarily celibate. He's not celibate because he wants to be celibate. He's celibate because nobody wants him. So since no women want it, he mad at women all across the world. I hate y'all. Why won't you give me any attention? Because you're fat and sloppy like Larry Holmes, nigga. That's why. Because when you walk up to a woman, you can't have a conversation. You just staring at her mammary gland. She's like, this nigga's weird. You're slobbing at the mouth. You don't know what to do. You act like you ain't never seen a woman before. He said, me and my friends at school would tell each other what videos to watch. Hey, man, you were young, man. It's all good. Boys had that. See, I also think it's the testosterone. Especially when you're a teenager, you don't really understand the power of testosterone. And now you starting to look at women and starting to look at them differently than you did previously. And ain't nobody really having that conversation with you about learning how to keep this newfound desire in check. You don't know what to do with it. See, we also don't like to have them conversations. You just let this young boy to his own devices. He don't know what to do. God forbid he find out what happens when he touches himself. Now you wondering why he don't never come out of his room. You calling him, he don't answer. It's different now. They got tablets. They got easy access. This boy ain't never coming out of the room. You talking about, why is he in the bathroom so long? I'm coming, leave me alone. You want? I ain't even like I'm telling you, right? Like he said, 14 to 16. Man, that testosterone start kicking in, especially when things start getting produced in the boy. He has now a level of desire that he ain't never had before in his life. He don't know what to do with it. With puberty hit. But see, you got to tell him about that long for puberty hit. You know what I'm saying? All us men in here, you know what it was like when that testosterone, you know you like girls, but when that testosterone hit, they start looking way, way different to you then. You know what I'm talking about? You start to notice things you didn't notice before. Now you start getting burning in your loins that you never had before. And ain't nobody telling you nothing. And if they is telling you something, they telling your manhood is measured by how many women you can conquer. So now you feel like this is what you're supposed to do with your adult life. It might not be for some men till they realize to their 30s, they race their whole young adult life chasing pleasure. You know what I'm saying? I've been told you here, man, it's 168 hours in a day, in a week, excuse me. And if you observe the Sabbath, you got 144. I promise to you that you're not finna spend nowhere near a quarter of that 144 hours having physical intimacy. And if you do, you ain't got nothing going on in life. You know what I'm saying? And your mindset is terrible because all you want to do is have a physical release. That means you ain't got nothing going on in your mind. You consumed with sex. You'll never be a great man. You know what I'm talking about? There's no way. Do you know what you can get done in 144 hours? You got to think you need at least 8 to sleep. You take that, that's 48. So you're under 100. You know what I'm talking about? I just say that because that pleasure is a small part of your life. And then Brother Taven just say, man, a lot of brothers need to fast. And that ain't no joke, boy. If you're dealing with any type of lasciviousness or whatever it might be, because it might not be for physical intimacy. You know what I'm saying? Let's not just act like they're the only unbridled desire that people have is for sex. It's the most common one. I understand why it's the most common one if you ain't been in the word your whole life, because you've been partaking in physical pleasure for a long time, and now somebody's telling you to cease and do it under these particular confines, and you like, but I like it. See, a lot of people don't be honest with people, man. And when I used to preach in the street, man, I used to tell them young boys all the time, man. I say, man, I know the hardest thing for you is women. I say the other stuff probably easy outside of faith. You know what I'm saying? Because you've been doing it. And now somebody telling you to stop. If you're not going to get married, you need to stop. You think that's easy for a 21 to 25-year-old young man to do? No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Much less a woman. Because let's not act like, people on the internet try to act like women don't like to have sex. Clearly, they ain't been around a lot of women. Or women who like them. You know what I'm saying? Because I told that woman that day, she told me, I'm sad. I said, look at baby. I said, the women I grew up with, boy, I said, boy, they were kicking that coochie out of both panty legs early. Early. Wasn't playing no games. You know what I'm talking about? Middle school, baby, they ready. Little Caesars. And that was unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? All I was telling her was I knew I wouldn't marry none of my peers. I said, I know I won't marry none of them. Know how people like you married, in different time, people married the people they grew up with, the people they were around. You know what I'm saying? That was a normal thing before social media. It's a normal thing. You marry people in your community. You ain't thinking about a woman over here, a woman over there. I just knew, oh, no, God, no. I know what you did last summer. You know what I'm saying? I know what you did. And a city like Jacksonville so big, you know what I'm talking about? These women will go to a whole nother side of town during summer and live a whole totally different way than what they portray in the side of town that they from. She act like she a good girl on the south side. She a stomp down whore out west. New slave. But she from the south. That's what I'm saying. She from the south, but she going over there with a north side boy, and she getting bang-a-lang. Come back on the south, act like, nah, I wouldn't dare do that. But it's niggas who know what you did last summer. And last winter. And last week. That ain't no way to live. Is it? Some of y'all went to school with girls like that. You were friends with them too. You were like, I didn't know she was doing all that. You knew it. She always skipping school. You thought she was skipping school to smoke weed. She was smoking all right. I didn't say you was on it. I say y'all knew people who were doing that. You know what I'm talking about? You knew what they were doing. Yeah, they act like they ain't never know what was going on. Really? You knew. I never knew she was doing that. You knew because you talked about it with your friends. She a real whore. You just want to act like you ain't know what up. Like you ain't know what everybody else knew. That boy say Jacksonville top 10 in the A's. I seen that yesterday on IG. Shoot, we already know. Mess around Jacksonville you want to, boy. You coming back with that package. Not from FedEx either. You know what I'm talking about? I've been on that. You coming back with that small package, nigga. That ain't right. You don't want that. No, that's a wrestling maneuver. Come on, Sylvia. Where we at with? We good with it. Come on back to Chronicles, man. That's a. But I say we live in that type of world, man, because now you're not, like I said, back in those times. Look here, man. You know what they used to do with young girls when they got pregnant back in the days? They sent her away. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't married. They sent her away, or they took the baby and told everybody that was her cousin, her nephew, and her mama raising the baby the whole time. That's her son. Don't nobody know. The little boy ain't never know that his sister was his mama. You know what I'm saying? Man, you had women back in the days who were madams. They were pimps. They ran the whole brothel. Man, I'm being honest with you. And from what I done seen, it seemed like between the early 1900s to the 1940s, like you seen Harlem Nights, doggone Della Reese character was a pimp. The one who shot that nigga, he shot her in the toe. She was the madam. She was the running the whole house. She the one sent the woman to him talking about, baby, I ain't never coming home. That was one of her hoes. I mentioned that because from what I could see, and I could be incorrect, but from about early 1900s to 1940, it seemed like more women were doing pimping than men. Straight pimp. But they had you around here thinking, man, look here. They had you around here thinking just women just couldn't do nothing. How they out here pimping hoes? You knew that's it? You ain't nobody. You ain't never heard about the madams. She actually used to be a prostitute. Now she talking about still I rise. I don't want to rise with you. They talking about any woman could change her life. Yeah, they can. But I'm be honest with you, man. If you a hoe, you're always gonna be a hoe. And you know why you always gonna be a hoe? Because that's who you is on the inside. And you ain't gonna want to not be a hoe until you change intrinsically who you are on the inside. Because that's why I was telling you, because I was referring this to all saying, nigga just mentioned a hoe. I say if a person is a hoe and they always been hoeing, and that's what they want to do, because what it was, this is what it was. Now I remember. My homeboy telling me he was sad because somebody that he knew who used to be in the word, he felt like it affected his walk in the word because dude walked away from the word to go back out here and get high and some other stuff. And he had been in the word for years. I say, bro, dude always wanted to do that. He say, what you mean? I say, see, that's why I tell you can't get caught up with no outward service because that don't mean that's who you are. Because who you are as a person is based off what you do. You only change who you are as a person when you change your thought process to what it is that you do. This is why the text say you got to make yourself a new heart and a new spirit. This is why I say that. Because if you got the mind of a wicked person, meaning that you're disagreeable, you're angry, you're envious, you're jealous, that is who you are. And just because you put on some outfits, keep a Sabbath, and all that there, that's not really who you are. That's just what you're doing for the moment because you want to be that envious, jealous, wrathful person. And what you see with a lot of people is what they start doing, Cindy. They stop coming. They stop doing it. Why? And they end up going back to be who it was that they were. This is why I say the lawyer who is perfect converting the soul. There has to be a change. What did he tell you? You got to be what? Born again. He said you can't put old wine in what? New bottles. So that means that there has to be a change. See, what I'm telling you is it's not that a woman cannot stop being a hoe. But if she don't make a new heart and a new spirit, all she gonna be doing is waiting for the time to go be who she's always been. Because this is who you are. You have to change. People don't want to change. This is what I mean by that. That is who you are unless you make yourself a new heart and a new spirit. He said, yeah, I was, oh, that was D says. I was like that on the show I was watching in England. Oh, I missed what she was referring to. You got to think about that. That's in it. If a nigga's a killer, he's always gonna be a murderer until he changes his mind. And that's what people don't do. You think because you learned a few things and I stopped eating pork, I keep the Sabbath now, I keep these feast days, that means you godly, and it don't. Because them things we just heard in Mark chapter 7, they still there. You ain't got that filthiness out of the Kadash place. So since you ain't got that filthiness out of the Kadash place, if you dealing with evil thoughts, blasphemies, and lasciviousness, that's who you are, because they still there. You know what I'm talking about? And they're going to defy you, and eventually it's going to come out in your behavior, because I don't want to do this anymore. This is why y'all be like, if you see people walk away from the word and you shocked, like, I thought he loved God. He never loved God. He never wanted to do that. That was never who he was, because the book tell you if any man doesn't put in a partaker of the Ruach HaKodesh, it's impossible for him to fall away. It's impossible. When you have actually converted your mind, like we just talked about, he said, when you converted, strengthen your brethren. When somebody give you the faith of Yahuwah for you to be made strong, if they done came through to repair them breaches. And just like we read earlier, he said, you spread out your arms and you cast iniquity from you and you don't let wickedness dwell in your tabernacles. That is not who you are anymore. If you had a problem with lasciviousness, blasphemies, and evil thoughts, but you put them out your tabernacle and you replace them blasphemies with praise, because that's what you actually do, and you replace your lasciviousness with confess, which is the delight, the pleasure in Yahuwah, and you replace them evil thoughts with the mind of Mashiach, that is who you are now. But if you haven't done that, that's not who you are. You know what I'm saying? That's not who you are. That's what I mean by that. That's why I say, oh, they went back to be the whole that they always been, that they were born to be. What do I mean by you were born to be? Because he said the wicked go astray as soon as they born, telling lies. And then what he said? Get Psalm 58 just so they know I ain't making that up. See, a lot of us are not taught to actually have a conversion. You know what I'm saying? A converting of the soul. A renewing of the mind. Ain't that what he told you to renew your mind? You're not taught to do that. So you think doing outward rituals is changing, but you wondering, well, why am I still fighting and dealing with this? Because ain't nobody told you got to cast that out. And then when you cast it out, you replace it with the godly equivalent of whatever that is. See, if you got an evil eye, you replace it with a godly eye, which means you replace it with mercy. You replace it with compassion. You replace it with grace, according to Yahuwah, not according to you. But ain't nobody telling us that. And that's why niggas be in the word for 10, 15 years in a rut. Now, if you getting told that and you ain't did it, I guess you know that's just evident that you wicked as hell. Go ahead, bro. I'm finna stop too.
Say, do you indeed speak righteousness, or do you judge uprightly? Or you sons of men? Yea, in heart you work wickedness. You weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born.
He said they go astray as soon as they be born, telling lies. See, most of y'all didn't go astray as soon as you were born because you were wicked. You went astray because nobody taught you no better. Like I've been saying all week, most of us were left to our own devices to figure out things that you understood not. And then people point their finger at you about why you were unsuccessful and you failed. Well, nigga, you didn't do your job. What did you expect me to do? Nigga, I was 12. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I was 17. I didn't know what to do. I was 22. I ain't never been grown before. Why are you allowing me to make these type of decisions with no guidance and instruction? And then you shocked that I failed. That's your fault. That was your job. You were supposed to teach me better. Now, if your people taught you better and you chose wrong, then that's on you. Now, some of us were taught right and for wrong every day, and then you went and did what you wanted to do. And when I say went and did what you wanted to do, you made decisions because you was hard-headed. You had to learn the hard way. You didn't want to follow the instruction to be warned and not have to deal with stuff. You wanted to learn the hard way. Sometimes doing what you want to do ain't necessarily because you just rebellious, You just got to figure it out on your own when somebody already told you this was going to happen. Let me tell you something, the hallmark of wisdom, man. I done told y'all that plenty of times. The hallmark of wisdom is to learn from the mistakes of others and to learn from other people's lives. That just because you faced with a situation don't mean you need to go through it to learn it out yourself, when you can learn it from somebody who already been through that. They can tell you what not to do and what to do. They can tell you anything that you want to know. They already been through that. And you know, most of the reason why most people in this generation don't do that, because you don't like to sit down with older people and learn, because you think you're smarter than them. You think people who have more life experience, more wisdom, and more understanding, you think you're smarter than them, which shows the level of pride and arrogancy that this particular generation possesses, which is why we suffer the things that we suffer. Come on with it, man. Matter of fact, I think that's it. We'll start right there, man. It's 11:30. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, man. I appreciate y'all time. Yahuwah with it, man. We coming back. What they call that? A double show, a double attraction, whatever the case may be. We'll start at, probably be better everybody be here at 1, but we're gonna start at 1:30. Second service will be at 8. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna rock it out like that. I appreciate y'all time, man. I bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Yahuwah with it, man. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. I know niggas hungry and whatnot, so they can start dispensing out their business. So Yahuwah will it, man, to the next one. Shalom, brother Eric, man. Do you even know